Carolina Panthers are one of the more disappointing teams from last year because a lot of their fans hyped them up like they had a lot of potential, but in the end, they realized that they aren't that good. So let's look at the Panthers and see what they can do to take advantage of the young talent they do have and turn it into something that can produce for this team. What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Coker, and I'm your host for today's episode of Today with Tyler. I hope you enjoy. As per usual, we will start with their free agents. Their free agents include Stephon Gilmore, Matt Paradis, the center, Cam Newton, Hassan Reddick, the linebacker who did sign elsewhere, Daquan Jones, a defensive tackle, and Dante Jackson, the corner. So some decent secondary members are going to be missed, and while J.C. Horn is coming back, you'd like to see a little bit more there if you were safe. Going into their offenses, the Panthers had a lot of QB drama. Sam Darnold was Sam Darnold until he got hurt, and I don't think he's going to just magically turn good next year. Cam Newton wasn't good either. He only had one good game and then lost to Washington and everything went downhill. And then we don't really talk about what happens after that. Their wide receiver core is certainly confusing because they have a lot of talent, but really nothing to show for it. Letting Curtis Samuel walk really wasn't a great decision since Terrace Marshall Jr. did nothing in his stead, and Robbie Anderson was pretty bad in his own right too. Of course, DJ Moore is a lone bright spot on this offense, and really, he didn't have any backup. Tommy Tremble himself, the rookie tight end, also did poorly this year, and really just topped off a really bad draft for the Panthers. To think they could have drafted Fields or even Pat Surtain, but they ended up getting a cornerback who's hurt and we don't know if he's going to turn out, a tight end who can't play, and a wide receiver who can't produce. Their star running back, Christian McCaffrey, once again was hurt all year because they don't know how to do an offense without him, and we're hoping it's not going to be a new trend, but you can't promise it. I love Christian McCaffrey, and he brings a very dynamic game to the NFL, but if the Panthers continue to hurt him over and over and over, he's going to turn out to be a very poor selection. And it's going to be a shame to see so much talent wasted on a team that doesn't even deserve it. And that's coming from a Washington fan who doesn't deserve any talent. Chuba Hubbard was only to do so much with that horrible offensive line in Christian McCaffrey's stead. So it's not really McCaffrey's fault that he's getting hurt because he's being overused and he has no blocking. Let's get into that blocking. Speaking of, they are the second worst unit in the entire NFL and were issue for their own quarterbacks and running backs alike. The only salvageable season was right tackle Taylor Moton, who had himself a pretty sound year, but left tackle Cam Irving, left guard Michael Jordan, center Matt Paradis, and right guard John Miller all were ghastly, and I expect nearly all of them to be replaced before the season begins. At least if the ownership is focused on the right thing, and please don't take a first-round quarterback, it's not worth it. Going on to their defense kind of crumbled by the end of the year, but started off extremely strong, showing a little bit the potential they do have. Even Taylor Heineke managed to find success against what was supposed to be the number one secondary in the entire NFL, and there's a reason for that. Their secondary was luckily helped by Stephon Gilmore, who was acquired in one of the most unbalanced trades I've ever seen, a sixth for Stephon Gilmore. But Jeremy Chin had a decent year as well, but strong safety Justin Burris and cornerback Dante Jackson both work against those two. J.C. Horn really needs to come back and be able to produce how he hopefully will if the Panthers really want to become a true defense that isn't going to go high and then low. Combined with the secondary's collapse was a horrible collapse on the run defense as well, leaving them below average on the year. The box was pretty split, like how most teams are, with linebackers Hassan Reddick and Shaq Thompson both having good years, but their counterparts Brian Burns and Jermaine Carter struggled over the year. Their defensive line of Derek Brown, Daquan Jones, and Morgan Fox also struggled, barely playing at a decent level. They need a lot of box help, and while they did have some successes in it early, they really need to give some more talent and give some more power to this defensive line, and to the defense as well, because they have a lot of talent, as a lot of people will say, but they really can't capitalize on it. Their positional needs, as I have them, are tackle, guard, center, linebacker, defensive end. They really need O-line. It's pretty bad. So an ideal draft, since they don't have any pick aside from 6, is to trade back. unless someone like Charles Cross, Ika Mekwonu, or Evan Neal fall to 6, which is a possibility. It just will never happen in my mock drafts because I prioritize offensive line pretty big. You need a tackle. There's 3 in the first round that are going to be really, really good pretty quickly. Ika Mekwonu, Evan Neal, and Charles Cross are all going to be very sound. If they're there at 6, take them. If not, trade back a little bit. See what you can get. Because I don't really like taking Trevor Penning at 6. I don't like the idea of taking Tyler Linderbaum at 6 at center and getting an interior lineman. Because, yeah, he's good, but 6? Probably not. Don't take a quarterback at 6. Don't take a corner. Don't get tempted in anything like that. Just trade back and get someone who you will probably get at 6, but for much more value because you'll get a second-round pick or a third-round pick. Something that you can build on because you have 1 pick until the 4th round. That's not good. So by building up some picks this year, you might be able to build up a better team this year and protect your quarterback. And then next year, when you lose inevitably again, you can draft a quarterback because Sam Darnold really isn't the answer, and Panthers fans know this. It's not a surprise. But with all that talent around Sam Darnold, just build it one more time, be the Washington next year, and then you'll have the pick to plug in a quarterback, and don't trade for someone like Carson Wentz. All right. Thank you for listening to the Carolina Panthers.